Tapes of Diddy's parties have been exclusively viewed by the New York Post, and they wrote a whole article about it, details about it, when and where it happened. Now, viewer discretion is advised because we kind of have an idea of what goes down at these parties, and they talk a lot about it. I'm going to be very careful with my words, but let's get into it. So, the title of this article is saying that Sean Diddy Combs would mix these very big events where these massive stars are attending with his freak off parties. He would host the parties after these big events, and it names two in particular, the VMAs and the Super Bowl. Now, there's something very interesting about this because the Super Bowl, depending on how long you guys have been following me, I always make a video about the Super Bowl halftime show and what all of the celebrities are wearing and what they're doing. There's always some type of symbolism here, and there's always the biggest celebrities attending these events, especially with the Video Music Awards, which is the VMAs. Now let's continue to read this. Sean Diddy Combs' freak-offs often coincided with some of the biggest star-studded parties at the height of his fame, with at least 3 wild sex parties taking place hours after major events, according to a trove of video files and documents viewed exclusively by the Post. They watched this with their own eyes and then wrote this article right after. So the clip suggests that the orgies, which federal prosecutors say sometimes involved women who were threatened or coerced to perform grueling hours-long sex acts, were happening just below the surface as Diddy rubbed elbows with the biggest names in Hollywood, music, and sports. Now listen to this. In the early morning hours of August 29, 2005, the Diddy after party from the MTV VMAs was still going strong. Actress Eva Longoria chatted with Fergie in one corner, while Ice-T, Quincy Jones, NASCAR great Jeff Gordon, and Paris Hilton mingled with the guests. They show this picture, and one by one, the celebrities left the party, and there is no indication they knew about or were involved in what happened next. Soon, the event moves from inside the Space nightclub to Diddy's Miami mansion. Now, you got to know something about Space nightclub. Some people may have went, but this goes till the morning and it doesn't stop, and wild things happen at this club. From there, it appears to have descended into a ruckus sex party, according to photos and videos viewed by the Post. They are harping on this. By then, all the stars appear to have gone except one, Diddy. They were replaced by a cast of fit young women and men, all in various states of undress. Here we go. As 2 white men took turns having sex with a very young black woman who clearly had white powder under her nose. Diddy could have been seen in the background wearing a white t-shirt with the words, "God is the greatest." I mean, that's crazy. The same shirt he was photographed wearing at the VMA's after party. In another clip from the night, a couple had loud sex on a table as a group of well-dressed people stood around. This is him in his shirt. The videos reviewed by the Post are part of the same archive that includes footage that appears to show Diddy having sex with much younger male A-list star. That video has been shopped around for sale by news outlets by more than one seller. I mean, this is crazy. So these tapes are being shopped around by media outlets, and I mean, people, this is one of the biggest stories of the year. So people want to have this footage, they want to sell it, they want to be the one to let this out. I mean, it looks like the New York Post might be doing the same with this article. Now, we don't really have pictures of what's going on, but they're saying they viewed it and they wrote this. However, many of the videos have dates that can be corroborated with star-studded events, including the 2004 and 2005 VMAs in Miami and the 2005 Super Bowl in Jacksonville. After each of these events, Diddy appears to have thrown a wild group intimate party. The alleged behavior is consistent with a similar allegation in a lawsuit filed earlier this week, which had women alleging that Diddy and a female celebrity when she was just 13 following the 2000 VMAs at Radio City Music Hall in New York.
Good, you're doing so good. I just want to say,
This is heavy stuff. Diddy's attorney denied the latest allegation in a statement by saying in court the truth will prevail, that Mr. Combs has never sexually assaulted anyone, adult or minor, man or woman. During the weekend of the Super Bowl in Jacksonville in February 2005, Diddy threw a star studded gala with attendees like Ashton Kutcher, Ashley Simpson, and Girls Gone Wild founder Joe Francis. Ashton Kutcher. We've seen pictures of him at the party, a lot of conspiracies about him if you've seen my old videos. Hours later, the party seemingly moved to a $2 million mansion in nearby Sawgrass, which Diddy rented out for a reported 20K per week. This is 15, or no, this is 19 years ago. So that number's a lot higher now. In one video, two men have sex with each other while the sounds of laughter echo throughout the room. It later appears that Diddy himself took part in the action that night, held a camera from his point of view while he appeared to engage in sex with a woman. This is the first time I'm reading this article on camera, so excuse me. This is wild. Again, no indication that a Super Bowl party guest knew about the orgy that took place afterward. Federal officials raided two of Diddy's homes in March, seizing hundreds of sex videos and a mountain of sex paraphernalia, including 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lube. In a statement, the U.S. Attorney's Office alleged that the sex parties are not always consensual. He alleged sexual abuse of women included forcing them to engage in frequent day-long sexual activity with male prostitutes, some of whom were transported over state lines. According to the charges against him, these events, which Combe referred to as freak-offs, were elaborate sex performances that he arranged, directed, and often electronically recorded, the document said. To ensure participation in freak-offs, Combs used violence and intimidation and leveraged his power over victims, power he obtained through obtaining and distributing narcotics to them, exploiting his financial support to them, and threatening to cut off the same and controlling their careers. Wow. It's unclear whether the videos that the Post have viewed are part of the Fed's case, but officials say that they confiscated hundreds of videos from Combs' hard drives and devices, some of which include the freak-off sex parties. These are consistent with the videos we have, a federal law enforcement source who is involved with the investigation said after hearing descriptions of the scenes in the videos that the Post viewed. Just about everything you can imagine was happening at his parties. Now, our job is to determine whether this was consensual for everyone involved, if anyone had been trafficked, and what laws have been broken. In the videos viewed by the Post, the identities of most of the participants are unknown. The feds believe that some of the victims in the videos they obtained were coerced to perform. Combs threatened his victims, the Fed said after his arrest, including by threatening to expose the embarrassing and sensitive recordings he made of the freak-offs if women did not comply with his demands. Now, Diddy has been charged with racketeering, conspiracy, sex trafficking, and transportation to engage in prostitution. In addition to the charges, he faces a myriad of civil lawsuits from his alleged victims. He has pleaded not guilty and consistently denied wrongdoing in both criminal cases and suits. It's sick, the law enforcement source told the Post. Look, if this were just him having sex parties with a bunch of excited adults, we wouldn't be having this conversation. That's legal. It is. But that's not what we're talking about. This man is a predator. Attorneys for Diddy did not return the Post's calls for comment. Says it all. I'm not sure how this article isn't everywhere because this is big. I mean, first of all, there were rumors of the tapes being shopped around of Diddy's parties, and then the New York Post said they exclusively viewed them and made an article about it, which we just read. And then the stuff in the article lines up with the stuff we see on social media. The 13-year-old at the VMAs, Diddy goes up to her and says, "Hey, you coming to the after party?" Well, there's a lawsuit of a 13-year-old girl being sexually assaulted. As time goes by, things are getting a lot more weird and a lot more is coming out. I don't know if we'll ever see these photos or videos. I think we will once they get officially shopped around. But Diddy's trial is in May, so I don't know what's gonna happen, but the silence in the music industry is very loud, and a lot of things are coming to light this next year.